So I want to teach you guys the 3 traps about freedom. So the first one is freedom of location. So let's understand what freedom of location is. So freedom of location is being free from the location of your job or geographic area. So let's think about this. So we all know that people want to go travel and be with their family and friends, and they also want to spend reunions, birthdays, anniversaries, and most importantly, weddings. So if we think about this, all these available methods require us to be there physically, whether it's in person. Like, for example, we have to still abide by the 9 to 5. We still have to abide from the time restrictions, but we still have to be there physically, remote, and in a hybrid model, which is essentially the same thing, but it's still a bad option. So ideally, you want to go ahead and make a good service or product that would actually be online, and you don't have to be in person where you actually have to do all the manual labor yourself. So some good options would be making a course, selling knowledge like that, video editing, stuff that is very permissionless, so that you could easily scale and go ahead and automate. So that is the first trap. And what's also very important to understand about these 3 traps is that when you unlock one, you still have 2 more traps. So even if you unlock one, it's still kind of meaningless. So that is one thing I want to emphasize. So alright, so going on to the second trap. Alright, so let's go to the freedom of the mind. So everyone wants freedom of the mind, because when we have control over our thoughts, behaviors, actions, and beliefs, our own rationality and our own perception can all be controlled through our own reality. And what we see is eventually what you become. And this is what is really fascinating about our own mind, is because we can control any outcome that comes our way. But all we have to do is just give some time and energy towards our mind. Because I know many of us have a 9 to 5, and that takes a lot of energy. So because we consume so much energy during our 9 to 5, eventually what happens is when we come back home, we develop a habit where we keep reinforcing dopamine to our neural pathways that tricks us into thinking we want more social media, more Netflix, all these cheap dopamine essentially. But all we do is just get into a larger, deeper, more lonely rabbit hole, and this rabbit hole takes years to figure out what caused this hell state hole, and nobody wants to be there. I want to make this very clear that time is so important, because without time, you would be in a position where everyone else is. And you have to understand that now you have the ability to go ahead and watch content that, it takes 10 minutes, but if you watch the right content, you could actually consume tens or even hundreds of hours of content in just 10 minutes. So if you understand a couple of things about time, is that it's very undisproportionate. And this is very important, because if it wasn't like this, you would have the ability to learn content at a very linear rate. But growth isn't linear. It's very exponential and it's also very volatile. So when we keep that in mind, some days feel like rock bottom, but again, some days could also feel like bliss, or some days they could even feel like just another mediocre day. But you know, growth again is very unpredictable and it's also very volatile. So some days you get like a very low, you get like a, but you guys could get the lowest lows or you guys could get the highest highs. So it really depends, but if you guys do persist through the process, then eventually it all evens out. So so you guys might be wondering, how do I break free of my time? So let's think about this. So many days we go to college and we spend years trying to create the money that we all want to achieve. And the thing about this is that society teaches us that financial success is the right answer. But, you know, there are many new methods that actually promote financial freedom. And the difference is that financial success comes at the cost of your time. And time is something that we can't get back. And even if you go ahead and make $2 million at the age of 65 or 70, or, you know, sometimes you might even have like more money. But even if you had more money, you have less energy, less clarity, and so many decreases in benefits that like your performance isn't as good as it was at your peak. And the goal is to be free at your peak ages. So your peak ages are 18 to 45. And the reason why I say that's your peak age is because that's essentially your peak testosterone levels, and you could do so much things with that time, energy, clarity, essentially, because you don't want to be like a vegetable rolling down with like no clarity, brain fog all the time, health considerations, because that's very bad stuff and we don't want to dive deeper. So that is why freedom of time is a very good aspect to consider, and permissionless leverage is so important to understand about how all of this ties in. Because let's say that you automate some type of system in place so that you don't actually have to go ahead and work every day, or you don't have to work 9 to 5. You don't have to be in the same cubicle as everyone else's. Because again, competition is very saturated. Why do you have to compete with so many people, right? Doesn't that make sense? We don't want to go ahead and compete with 100,000 people. We want to compete with one person, and that would be us, so that we can be our own boss. We could be wherever we want to be. We could work whenever, because the idea of work is to work wherever I want to, whenever I want to, and to have a job that's in demand. So ideally, the goal is to make money with your mind. And when we do that, everything will open up. So this is why when you unlock your freedom of time and your time, mind, and location, your whole life changes. Because this is when you finally have the money, the time, the energy, clarity. And this is one thing I want to understand, is that even if you guys, let's say that you don't unlock all of the puzzle pieces, you still would be in a much deeper rabbit hole than you were before. So let's say, for instance, tomorrow, some guy messaged me saying that I could be at an event with some of the best people, and with these people would be like brilliant minded people that you had ideas that you wouldn't even thought about, but you can't make it because you have a restriction of time and you can't make it because your job is on the line and you can't make it. So this is why I think it's very essential that we have to understand all these things about freedom, and freedom is something that we need to really understand about because it's very essential, because we don't want to fall in this deep, dark, depressing rabbit hole that society has taught us. And yes. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video because it talks about how freedom is very misunderstood, and even if you solve one issue of freedom, you actually have a bigger issue. And this is one thing I would like to point out, is because sometimes we all get screwed, whether it's one person that screws us over, ourselves that screw her over, our minds that screw us over. Our whole perception is all relative. So what you see isn't actually reality, and we could actually change that if we actually allowed ourselves to actually go ahead and allowed us to change our own perception through digging into the root cause. We could actually go ahead and change all of this. So if we allowed us to give us space and to clearly write down some ideas, or just go ahead and think for 10 minutes in like a quiet room. We could have all the ideas, but we just have to think about it. And thinking is one of the best things we could do. So guys, remember what I talked about. It's freedom of location, freedom of the mind, and freedom of time. And you must have all of them in order to become free. So guys, I hope you guys subscribe. It would really help me a lot to grow. And I also want to emphasize that this channel is for everyone to grow. Yes, this is why you guys should also go ahead and join my cool growth hack subscription on creatorsvault.net. So guys, there would also be more free courses for you guys to learn. So this is why it's going to include how to growth hack from 0 subscribers all the way to 10,000 subscribers in 30 days, because I know that's so important to you guys. We all love subscribers, we all love views, we all like audience retention, so we all need it. All right guys, see you guys in the next video. Bye.